This is Sacred Earth Journey Ground Report. Unfiltered perspectives from the ground. No debate, just reality as it is. Welcome to Sacred Earth Journey Ground Report from Ukraine. I have with me Valerii Riabokonko. Correct me.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Okay. So I have invited Valerii to be on to give us more of a human perspective of what's really going on in Ukraine. The war has been going on for 4+ years now. And, before we talk geopolitics, Valerii, if you will, just share what have you seen, heard, smell, felt this past week? Just like that outsiders wouldn't fully understand or would never even consider.
hmm Yeah. I remember someone tell me a story recently that he was talking with one guy from US, and he shared the story that one of my friend who is in Kiev, his warehouse burned because of some Russian drones. And that guy from US, he said, "Are you crazy? Are they rich in Kiev?" And from this story, I understood that yes, some of people they don't understand what is going on at all, because the shelling is all around the country. And for you guys to understand, Ukraine this is the biggest country in Europe. So the size of this country is big, and shelling is
Geographically, the
everywhere. Yeah,
biggest.
geographically. Yeah. From one side of the country to another, it's like 1,000 miles. For US, it's not so much, but for Europe, this is the big country. And so I understood that some of people don't understand what is going on actually, and some people also are still asking, "Is it war still going?" So
Yeah.
yeah, it is here, and shelling always everywhere. Doesn't matter which part you're living in. It can be drones, it can be rockets, it can be ballistic, and if ballistic is flying, it is too late to go to bomb shelter because it can reach every part of country in few minutes. So yeah, for you guys to understand what is going on, and it's growing from different perspectives. So yeah.
What describe for the people watching, because not everybody has experienced the realities of war. Just describe from the human perspective, what does it feel like when drone strikes and missile strikes are flying over, flying in, hitting? What does it sound like? What does it do to your senses, to your body, to your emotions?
hmm Oh, I don't know. We experienced a lot of explosions with my wife in different cities. One of the biggest was May 15. I think it was 2023, few years ago, when the rockets they hit the warehouse, which is kind of far from us, like 10 kilometers. But I was thinking that our house would blow away. And our daughter was 4 days old, and we
Oh,
were sleeping, and we woke up. I woke up from the light from the window, and then I understood
from the
it is
explosion, the light from the explosion?
yeah, and then I understood that the explosion and wave will come in 5 seconds. So I woke up my wife, hey, and then uh, some furniture falls and all this stuff, and explosions like this was 15 in that day. So it was really scary. And I don't know, the God created us this way that when something like this happening, our conscious flying somewhere to different planet, and after like already 5 minutes, you remember this as a dream because it's scary so much. And then after a few minutes you're like, oh, it was fine, because somehow it's in some different box in your head, that not affecting after this your emotions so much. But at the moment, this is just a crazy. I mean, I don't want you guys to experience this at all, but this is what Ukrainians are going through daily in
So
some.
it's almost like a disassociation for self-preservation.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah,
When my wife gave birth to our daughter, this I'm trying to put these things together when a woman is giving birth. The pain is so much,
yeah,
and her conscious flying somewhere to different planet, and he can speak to you something that she would even don't remember after. So, and
yeah.
this how it work with the explosions. So this happened, you're
Mhm.
mentally going crazy. Once we've been in Kiev, we went there for some conference with our daughter, and outside was so hot, so we forgot to close the window, and so we woke up from the huge explosion of the drone. And it was middle of the night, and I stood up from the bed and I smashed myself in the in wall because I was confused. And
Oh,
so,
wow. Yeah.
yeah, these things is happening.
Well, I cannot even imagine. I remember when your daughter, you had shared on social media, that day you were describing when she was 4 days old and when that drone hit. And I just remember thinking to myself as a mother of 4, I just cannot imagine, uh, the feelings and the vulnerability and the helplessness of having children, let alone newborn children. I cannot imagine that emotional distress and what that does to someone. Um, Speak to us, Valerie, about what is the West still misunderstanding or just not comprehending about what daily life is like right now in Ukraine, 4 years in.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it is. It's like a horror movie, you know, that when night is coming, everything is flying, everything is exploding. One day, and then you wake up the city in the smoke, and people just go to the work, or people go into coffee shop to work because we don't have other choices. We
Oh,
have
okay.
families, we have checks that we need to pay our people, our society, our
Yeah.
nation. So people are trying to live and to learn how to live at this time. I remember how me and my wife we were driving to the bomb shelter, and some drone was follow our car, and other people just on the bus station, waiting for their bus. And we're like, it's just crazy. It is
Wow.
yeah, it's just how to say this, when you two personalities live inside of you, and it is like this in Ukraine. You are scary, you are living one life during the night,
Mhm.
explosion, you are scared, you are thinking, okay, so maybe like what is next, who is next, maybe we are next, so maybe we need to leave. And then morning come, and you stand up and you do your Zoom calls, you go to preach to streets, or you go to your jobs, or you go to university. Kids are going to kindergarten, so normal life, job, but we're just constantly bombing. And this is only one side. Another side,
So
it's of course economic and other things that
yeah,
influence
that I
our.
mean, and that's a lot to take in, and I think it's likely impossible for an outsider to fully comprehend. There's no way that we can emotionally understand what you were experiencing day to day. So, are the people going to the coffee shops and working because office spaces have been bombed, or was this a normal part of life already?
Yeah, it is normal part of life already. It's like I'm talking about millennials or Generation Z. They are working in coffee shops doing their online jobs, and people are going to the offices as well.
Yeah. So it there's just there's such this tension that I sense. So I mean, you have to carry on with everyday life, but then it's like you're just I would assume, and maybe wrongfully so, but I don't think it's wrong. You're just on this in this constant state of alert. This has got to fatigue the body and the mind.
Hmm. Hmm. Exactly. It is influencing our nation from different sides. One of these is that we have really high percentage of people who is going to the doctors because of the cancer in and other sickness that is coming from just constant stress,
Yeah.
or it is also influencing our marriages. uh,
Mm, yeah.
I think 8 of 10 marriages failed in Ukraine right now
Wow.
because guys, they're staying in Ukraine, and and they send their wives to Europe to be out
Yeah,
of
yeah,
this war. And this
yeah,
is so hard to be in relationships on in the distance, because they
absolutely.
stopped to understand each other. They're living totally different lives, and
Mhm.
this is another side of this. Yeah, but stress, and you just don't know what is next. You don't know how to plan. You don't know what will tomorrow looks like. Like,
Yeah, it would almost seem like planning for anything future-wise is almost like, maybe you question, like, it's futile, like, why? Why even plan for the future? But at the same time, for your own sanity, you have to plan for the future because you have to live. You can't just stop living. To your point about the marriages, I was married to a special operations Army Ranger for 20 years. And, he was active duty for, I think, 9 or 10 plus years, and then did the overseas contracting for another 4 or 5 years after that. And just being in the military environment, you are not wrong. I mean, whether you're separated because your spouse is fighting in the war, or because your spouse has sent you to a safer space, or whatever it is, you each person is continuing to grow and live and change parallel to one another. And there's so much change between the two individuals that it absolutely is a significant part of life and a part of war. And it's I think there's a lot of times people maybe research or try to figure out how can you make that better? How can you help marriages survive war? I don't know that you really can. I mean, it's just you you can't really anticipate what the challenges are going to be, because it's no day is ever the same. No person is the same. There's just a lot in that.
yeah.
What is the government, or are there like uh, organizations that are trying to help in regard to the marriage situation for healthy marriages during wartime?
Um, I don't think that we have some government program for this, but the organizations and volunteers and churches are doing a lot for this, uh, helping to do something for wives whom their husbands on the front line, or if someone, or they gather in Europe together to support each other, the wives, while their husbands are here. But I don't heard so much about this, because different there are different priorities in
Right.
Ukraine.
Yeah. Wow.
Marriages, we're trying to protect the lives, not the mental
Right.
health. Lives it's on the in the list, number one.
Yeah, so it's almost like the marriages are taking a back seat momentarily because right now the priority is just staying alive and being able to stay alert for
Hmm.
the soldiers, and yeah, I understand that, it is definitely a multifaceted topic and issue that I think is such a difficult. I mean, you can go all the way back into history and, even you look in the Bible days and you look at the situations with, like, I think of King David and all, all the men who were going off to war and the wives were staying home and all the things and just how much of a struggle the separation was and how much of a struggle just dealing with war in and of itself, whether you were female, male, someone who is actively involved in the war or someone who's trying to maintain the home front is a challenge. How are children processing things right now? And has war become like uh, like normal for an entire generation at this point?
Yeah, there is the whole new generation that show up during the war. For example, our daughter or our my wife brother daughter. She's 4, and she lives in Kiev, and Kiev is bombing like mm, more than other cities, which is capital. Kiev is capital. Kiev is the city of 4 million of people. So this is
Mm,
not a small city. And this is hard when you, as a parents, you go to the job and then you send your kids to the kindergarten garden, and there are shelling and all these explosions. I remember when she came to Khmelnytsky to our house, and we have here air alarm. We visit McDonald's, and there was air alarm, and so she started scaring. Oh no, drones, drones! Where is drones? And she started, So oh, I don't know what the consequences would be after that. But for now, it seems like it is hard for them. They don't know other life. They
wow.
like there are a lot of kids who is right now 5. We're on the 5th year of the war,
Yeah.
and who never knew other life. So always in bomb shelters, always your parents wake up you, you go in to bomb shelter, or driving like we don't have bomb shelter next to our house. So we, in the
Mm,
middle of the night, we are taking our daughter to hands, we're going to the car, and then we're driving to bomb shelter in the center of the city, and we are waiting there while we are checking on the phones where drones or rockets are flying. And our daughter, she don't remember anything, but
yeah.
once when we made this decision to every time when we have air alarm and something flying in our region, we are going to to bomb shelter, because next to our house there is power plant, and it's been constantly bombing. So last time we had 4 rockets explode there,
Mm.
and our daughter was running in the
Oh,
circles and screaming. So we decide, no, we need to, every time where is everything something flying, we're going to bomb shelter, because
yeah.
we knew this in our apps, in our Telegram chats. Where is flying?
Mm,
In how many hours they will be in our region? What is the direction? We know all of this, and we're checking this constantly. So yeah, since that time, we
wow.
we experienced some explosions, but it was accidentally, not because we didn't went to bomb shelter when we knew.
I can't imagine being a parent and you want to create a sense of normalcy for your children and dropping them off to school and then physically separating from your children, knowing that it is very possible that drones or missiles could attack the school that your child is at and you're no longer close to. This I can't I just can't comprehend that. That would be
Yeah,
so challenging.
it is hard decision for us when war start. We talked with wife, and we were thinking, this is so good that we don't have a kids, because that would be really hard to run and stuff. It was such a huge chaos in the beginning. A lot of sabotage people around the country. You don't know who is who, because Russia
Mm,
been sending years the
yeah.
uh, people who was sleepy agents, and then suddenly
Right.
all of them were woke up, and they was sending the pinpoint to Russia what to attack. And so you don't
Mm,
know who is who. There was some stories like when they stopped some cars, they took out men from the car and
yes.
sit in the car with their wife and kid with the gun, and said, if you will shout, I will kill you. So say they so they were pretending that they are family, and they
That
were
they were with the
driving.
fam yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, but and then after half of the year, me and my wife, we understood that maybe it is the best time to have a kids, because we don't know how long we will live,
Mm,
and we want to experience being parents. And this is the world is crazy in Ukraine, little bit more than in other country, but you don't know what will happen with you. You can go somewhere in Australia, and some spider can bite you and you will die, so no one know.
this is not
uh,
wrong.
yeah, yeah. So we even knew some stories when some refugees were driving somewhere in Italy, and the whole bus flipped from the mountains, and all of them died. So, and you're like, okay, they escaped Ukraine and died
Right.
in Italy. So
Wow.
we understood that the world is crazy, and we were thinking that Dubai is a safe place. Right now, it's not anymore. We were thinking that other countries safe place. So we stepped in a really scary age
Mhm.
when Putin opened this mystery box of the war. And right now, everyone can justify their wars, and no one will do anything.
Yeah.
So this is really crazy age that we live in. So so this is why we decide to have our daughter, and we're happy. I think that she bring us this happiness that nothing would give us during the war, and this is why we are able to maybe mentally be more safe than others. Yeah.
I think it gives you, like, this sense of purpose too, having children. It absolutely brings a very strong sense of purpose and drive. Um, and I love that you and your wife chose to continue to live in that manner, like, we're let's live intentionally on purpose in this moment, regardless of the circumstances and environment, what's going on. Let's still choose to live life. And I think this is beautiful. I think too often when we run into obstacles or challenges, we tend to hibernate or we tend to kind of stop living. And this is so easy. Quite frankly, I think it's almost easier to stop living with intentional presence when things are easy. You know what I mean? Because when
Mhm.
things are not easy, like times of war and times of traumatic events, they drive the reality home that life is so short and unpredictable, like what you were saying, all the different ways that a person can die. Like, but if there's not that constant reminder day in and day out that, like, the life is so unpredictable and valuable, we really do need to live intentionally on purpose. Um, are people still hopeful, or like, are they beginning to feel abandoned or cynical at this point? What's the vibe on the ground there? How are Ukrainians feeling about the future and
Mhm. Um, I think, of course, the society is tired, and but most of the society not ready to go and make agreement on Putin's rules, or their peace plan.
Mhm.
We're not ready for this because almost every Ukrainian had a friend on the front line or part of the family or someone who suffered from the war died or something like this. So
Mhm.
every Ukrainian. So this why our the decision to continue is really high. It doesn't matter the
Mhm.
circumstances because we sacrifice too much to give up.
So everyone
Um,
has skin in the game, basically. Everybody has blood in the game that this
mhm.
is what's fueling that drive to continue forward.
Yeah, I would not say that everyone, but more than half.
Okay.
Of course, those people who left the country,
Mhm.
they're more like, hey, we need to stop this. People are dying because the propaganda from the Russia and targeting on so much in internet. So when you leave the
Mhm.
country, Russia is propaganding you from social media. They are targeting Ukrainians who left to say from outside, hey, start and be against this. So
Mm.
and so why and this is really weird for those who in the country, because they are
Okay.
state and they decide to be with the nation, bring some changes, and be
Mhm.
support to the country, while the others are looking just for safety, which is okay.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
every person had their level of risk, but it always comes to your calling or the way of your life that you have, because
Mhm.
I know a lot of people asking us is asking us, hey, why you are not moving, like why you staying in the country? If
Mhm.
I would be on your place, I would leave. So many people told me this, and I said this is good, but I believe that there is the way or the destiny, let's say this, for every person, or calling for every person, and I feel that this is the time that I need to step in and be and do something to change the circumstances, and
Mhm.
this why we decide to stay. Of course, it is easy to live, and it is safe. Your family will be in safe place, and you don't need to think about this. But what about calling? I would be empty inside if
Mhm.
I would just run, because I am my follower of Jesus. I believe that God is and I believe that He gave me a love for the people, for my nation, and so I need to respond. If I am running, that what does my faith cost? So
Mhm.
if I'm running, if in time like this, so if we are looking um, for some stories in the Bible, the Christians was those whom a government was afraid, because they was those who never fear death.
Yeah.
They were the ones who ran in the special places where all these people with sickness lived. I don't remember how you this name of the sickness in age in time of Bible, when people like curse, or how you call this.
The leprosy?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So it was huge in that time, and Christians was those who ran in those places where people was with this sickness to help, and
Mm.
or there gather Christians and throw them to the lions, and there was singing the songs, and so the government was afraid those people who don't afraid of death. And
Mm.
I believe that that every Christians need to be and be salt and light in dark places or in
Yeah.
the places where there is huge need.
Yeah.
If we don't live there, then we need somehow to respond from outside. Because when one part of the body suffered, we need to step up and support and help and be with them, support their hands while they are doing their job, or just yeah. I just don't know why I don't believe in this, warm Christianity, or it is not only about Christianity, by the way. There
Yeah.
are so many people who is living for nothing, like they are living to pay their bill, and then in the
Yeah.
end of the life, they can sit in their houses with the cool cars. And I remember the
Right.
story when the one old couple told the story that they were living in huge house, they was watching the sunset in the ocean, and they tell to each other, why what like what for what we exchange our life, like, is it all
Right.
this matter, just house and cars and stuff? We could live for people,
Right.
for the need. We can respond. We can be part of of some lives that can be changed. So yeah,
Yeah.
then we just need to find our purpose, and our purpose, no one knows better than that person who created us.
That's right. I love that what you said, that you're f y I'm paraphrasing because now I can't remember how you said it so beautifully that basically you were saying, If I'm running, my faith isn't worth anything." Um,
Mhm.
and, also just this reference to the older couple and just living on purpose. I think this is one of the things that in my travels that I have experienced and witnessed, and it's not to dig at the West, but it feels as though in many other parts of the world where maybe there's not as much um, access or opportunity, it seems like life is slower and more intentional, more communal, more relational. And it seems like in other parts of the world, like in parts of the West, especially, not just America, it seems like things have become so much more transactional, um, and less human. And so, in a place of war, I find it encouraging that you're still focusing on the human connection and on living on purpose and intentionally. I think this is beautiful. Uh, has this war changed what it means to be Ukrainian?
Oh yeah, of course. I think it every country would be this the would go the same way as we go, because the goal for this war that Putin set up is to destroy our nation, our language, our culture, because we create this and this not exist before, and we need to spread our identity. So, and when someone is coming to your house and saying that I want you to obey me and speak on my language, of course everyone would say, "Who are you? Go away." So, and this why our nationalism is growing, which is normal, because
Mm,
someone came to attack our language, our and dictate the way we used to live. So we
yeah.
change a lot. We start to be more. I remember the story when we woke up in the first morning from explosion. It was 24th of February to 2022. We woke up from the explosion, and I opened up my phone and I saw all these calls from my friends from different countries. And I my wife told me, "Hey, war start." And I checked
Mm,
all the news and I was blown away. So the first thing we did, we jumped in the car and we went to gas station to fill our car
mm,
with the gas. The line was already miles, And when we came to the gas station, the banks was blocked because Russia
Wow.
hacked banks, and you couldn't
Yeah.
pay. So, and I remember how people was filling their car, and people who have a cash just paid for them, just for random people.
Wow.
And I understood that Russia will not, it will not be easy for Russia, because
Wow.
the war unite us so much. We
Yeah.
all of us were focused to be for each other, to help each other, to support the country. If someone, it's like we have all this volunteer organization who is helping on the front line, and I remember how one of them opened their bank account to get donations to buy, how you call this, satellites in the
Oh,
to
yes. Yeah,
send
yeah.
to the
Yep.
space.
Like
So
Starlink and
yeah, so we bought one of it for our country. So when we were like, wow, we can do stuff like this.
yeah.
So and this like our nation became so generous.
Mhm.
If someone is trying to gather some money for their friends for the front line, it's not always necessary. It means that the country is not able to provide something, but just someone went, he been taken from the street, and he needs like some extra food, some vitamins, or to the front line, or some warm socks or something like this. So always someone is asking in social media for this. In our country, so generous. Every I think second day, me and my wife, we send in to someone just small support, for random people we don't know,
Mm.
and it is like this for everyone,
Yeah.
and this
I
became
remember
part
when
of
it
how we do things.
no, and it's now you're tying in parts of the other, parts of other parts of the world that are coming in. I remember in the beginning, because Kabul fell August of 2021, and it wasn't too long after that that Russia invaded Ukraine. And and then there was another thing, with I think not too long after that, it was the October 7th thing, and it was like just one thing after another in various parts of the world, and it seemed like there was almost this I don't even know what you would call it, war fatigue, if you will. And whatever next thing happened, it was like all the attention went to that. And so, whatever the previous things were, they kind of got left in the dust. I remember early on that there was when the kidnappings were happening in Ukraine. And I was working with an organization. In fact, this is how you and I got connected. And we were helping evacuate the children, some of the children and women who were being kidnapped and trafficked by the Russians, and then helping other families and orphans, especially, to get out of Ukraine into safer locations during the war. And seeing how so many different people came together and united to help people who were in vulnerable situations. And so that gives you a glimpse of humanity. It gives you a glimpse of hope. So, my question now is, can Ukrainians still separate the Russian people from the Russian state? Or has that line been blurred a little bit?
Mhm. It depends on the where you are. If you're outside of Ukraine and you're living there, people are almost forget and
Mm,
anything. And but if you're living in Ukraine and you under the bomb, that is constantly happening, and every week you heard how some of your friends or neighbor died, you
mm,
understand that it is hard to separate Russians from the regime.
mm.
It's kind of the same when it was World War II, when the
Ah, yeah.
whole Nazi Germany was associated this way. because
Mhm.
if you live in Russia and you said, "Ah, I'm against of the war," but you go to the shop, you're buying bread, and taxes are going to the
Yeah.
rockets that killing Ukrainian kids. And for you guys to understand, I'm always saying shelling, shelling, shelling. You might think that they're shelling only military bases or power plants or stuff. No, it is you never know. It's half of that what is flying and going to the power plants or to the military places, and the rest is going to just to civilian houses, to apartments, to
Mhm.
scare the nation so they would leave and there would be no one to fight.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
yeah, this why it is happening. They're targeting so much civilians, infrastructure, and houses, and just businesses. So we would not be able to survive. But
Yeah.
the nation is, um, yeah, it is hard for now because you're not forgiving you're not trying to forgive the person who is in the process of cutting your leg, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it is hard to say, "Oh, I forgive you," and he's continued, you know?
Mhm.
Who is doing this? Only mental people are able to do that. There is
Mm.
time to be angry. There is time to forgive. There is like where even in the Bible we can read when Jesus was angry and he ran
Mhm.
into the temple and flipped the tables, those who was selling stuff in the temple. So there will be time where we will be talking with Russian about forgiveness, but in the
Mhm.
beginning they need to understand what they did. You're not forgiving those who not are saying sorry. So
Mhm.
for now they need to understand what is happening. And
Yeah.
some of the guys they understand, they know what is going on. There are good Russians, there are, but mostly they're just not.
Do you think it's difficult and dangerous for Russians, especially who are still living in Russia, to speak out or speak against the things that are taking place? And then also with the example of the purchasing the food, are there other options for them to buy their resources that won't fund the war? Or is this basic survival for them and they just don't have any other options?
Yeah, I mean, you can find, of course, ways to. It's all about your morality. What is your level of Christian morality, if you would say? But and you can avoid this. Yeah, but for them, it is hard to speak. Of course, we understood that we as a mission we had a lot of people whom we work with in Russia in those regions. We've been leading that region before the war, and when war start, we just can't. So we pass that work to other guys.
Mm,
But all these years, I were thinking, what do I want from them? Because I was angry so much,
mm. Ah,
and I
okay.
was asking myself, what do I actually need from them? Do I need to, do I want them to go with the signs to the main squares and stop the war, stop the war? Probably not, because this is easy to do in uh, um, different regimes, like in Europe or in US or in other countries where you have free country, but in the country that led by dictator, it is straight way to jail or
Mm,
to other things. And so I understood that I am not expecting this from them. What I
mm,
am expecting from them, I just need them to say sorry. Hey guys, we know what is going on. I just want from them empathy, you know.
yeah.
I want them to say sorry, and this all what I want. And just when something is happen, just write, hey guys, how are you doing? I heard this and that. How are you doing that?
Mm.
How are you there? So this everything that we need. But
Yeah.
we have so crazy stories. For example, like when war start, we had one of the pastor, my friend, and he was a part of the big union of churches. And when he was in Bucha, hiding from Russian soldiers, they was looking for every man they want to kill every man in the Bucha because this is potential soldier. So what they did, they knock in bomb shelter and ask and said to people, hey, we bring the food. So people like, oh, okay,
Oh,
food, we need food because we stuck here for weeks. And so they would open and they throw grenade in. And
wow.
so one of the pastor wrote in the chat of the pastors of this union, whole union, that from a start in Moscow. And he said, hey guys, pray for us. There are Russian soldiers looking for us. Please pray. We're hiding from them. And so he's been immediately deleted from chat.
Mm,
So this what we experience from the
yeah,
Russian church as a nation, and
yeah,
they just unfollowed us. They just and so how you would be able to forgive people, your friends,
mm,
that in the hardest time of your life just delete you from their
right.
life, just unfollowed you and numbed and being numbed, so mm,
And
this
that
is
can feel
still.
like such betrayal, and I've had similar experiences just in the work that I've done over in the Middle East and in parts of Europe and with Ukraine and all the things, and it like, we have our side of it, and then when something like this happens, we may not fully understand all the things that are happening on their side of it and why they're doing certain things or why they are closing the communication, and and yet it's so hurtful and it feels so painful, and to try to stop and understand maybe why they're doing it, and then just kind of, having that tug of war with how you feel betrayed, but then also trying to have empathy at the same time because we don't know fully what's going on their side of the things. Maybe it's for self-preservation and for them to continue carrying on the work or whatever it is. And it's just, there's so many emotions tugging in multiple different directions. It's a very challenging thing to consider. And it's, you brought up propaganda, how a lot of the younger ones are succumbing to the propaganda and the things, and it's I immediately think of this kind of situation where we just don't always have the full story or the whole of the information, and to try to make decisions or analysis of a situation when we don't have the full picture is so challenging. So I can imagine in that particular situation, there's just so many emotions just kind of at war with each other within yourself.
Hmm.
It's that's
Yeah,
gotta be so hard.
and it is, the propaganda thing, it is so high. They are professionals on this, let's be honest. So when they
Absolutely.
capture the city, the first thing they do, they bring the big screen in the main square, and they turn on their news, and they shut down all internet and other sources where you can get information. I remember when one in the beginning of war we were evacuating people, and we squeeze even to the occupied territory, and one guy, he's on the block post, Russian guys, he said, no, we're not let you in. We said, no, there are people, need to save them. So we just drive in, and we took some people from the bomb shelter who've been hiding there for months, and they said, where are you taking us? And we said, to Ukraine. He said, no, there is no Ukraine. They said to us they're Ukraine captured. No, Ukraine does not exist anymore. And if you go there, they immediately kill all Ukrainians, and they've been like this the lie they are living in. This is just one part. There are so
Yeah.
there are man. I so the moment when I stopped arguing with Russians was this when Russia did a lot of terrorist, really hard thing that you even couldn't imagine. Once they attacked the shopping mall in the middle of the night with full
Mhm.
of the people,
Yeah.
and I was posting about this, and one lady wrote me, "No, this is not true from Russia." And I said, "What do you mean?" No, 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 no. This is all planned, and all these people, they are actors and stuff. And I said,
Wow.
I like, why are you saying this? I know the person from that city who was walking by, and he filmed this and sent this to me. No, no, no. All these people are actors, and I say, you see this picture? Is it possible to do something like this, like the whole huge shopping mall just in the middle? There are huge holes from the rock, and everything explode and fire. He said, no, no, no. If rocket would hit display, the walls would be like this. They would not stay. And said, you're so professional. You know how explosion works. So
Wow.
they are somehow they are just blocking all facts. And then I understood it's just such a stupid waste of my time when I trying to explain Russian something. So I just said, okay, okay, bye, or I
Mhm.
just mute them.
Wow.
So yeah,
I
the
often
propaganda.
say, go ahead, sorry.
No, no, no. It's you go.
I was just say, I often say how propaganda is one of the longest running, most successful war tactics of all time. We've seen it in biblical history. We've seen it in thousands of years ago wars. Propaganda is extremely powerful, from the most subtle forms of propaganda to the things you're describing right now. And especially now with the social media and the AI and just all the things, it's only going to become, I think, it will only solidify the power behind propaganda. And as human beings, as global stewards of relationship and humanity, and cross-cultural relationship especially, we are really going to have to learn how to do our due diligence and to really research and investigate beyond journalism, beyond the media, beyond especially government and state sponsored media. I mean, we really
Hmm.
have to, and this is one of the reasons why I've started this ground report series for Sacred Earth Journey, is because I want to actually hear from the people on the ground who are living it. What are the actual experiences? And we're running out of time, but I do. What's one of the things that people outside of Ukraine say that kind of makes you quietly cringe, and you're like, that couldn't be further from the truth, or you have completely misunderstood? What's something that you hear people outside of Ukraine saying that you're just like, no, this is wrong?
You mean Ukrainians or just in general?
No, people outside of Ukraine, not
Uh-huh.
not Ukrainians. Yeah, yeah, yeah. People who are
Yeah.
not, who have maybe never been there, and
Uh-huh.
things that people are saying, maybe reporters, maybe whoever it is, but you're like, "Yeah, no, that's not right." Kind of like what you just shared with the Russians who are,
Hmm.
they're getting the information, but people outside of the situation,
Hmm.
what do you hear?
Yeah. The resources they are getting information from is just media. And I remember how I've been in US, and I talked with some people, and they said, Valerie, all these wars, Zelensky wants all this money, he don't want to stop the war, and they start to saying this thing that Russia is saying. And
Ah,
I understood that, oh wow, they just said one word that people want to hear, that support their worldview, and they
mm,
start to grow with this. And they said, and I said, man, why you think this way? Who told you this? Like,
mm,
I heard. Where did you hear this? I heard that, and it's just not like so many people are saying some random, some nonsense that
Mm,
if and one story I remember that it was so high in other part of the world when was in use that Zelensky is against of churches.
mm,
I don't remember. Have you heard this or not? But so many people wrote me. Is it true, Valera? And I said, like they said, it is everywhere in media. I said, no, guys, it is just crazy.
yeah.
What's happened? He shut down Russian Orthodox churches, which was the network of Facebook guys that
Mm,
was preparing to sabotage, and they
mm,
start to go to these churches, and in the basement full of guns. I
mm,
have one my friend, he is the council of the mayor of our region, and he said, Valero, yesterday we went to this Orthodox church and we shut down the this church because we saw the full basement of weapons and their
mm,
plans to attack or sabotage and stuff. And so we just said, the Zelensky just closed that network. He said, go to the Ukrainian Orthodox churches,
yeah,
not to the Russian ones, because
yeah.
they attacked us. They have their own plans. They have, and
Mm.
so the but media tuned this and said there's Zelensky against of Christianity. He
Well,
is
and that's the
closing the
thing about
church.
propaganda, and that's why it's so successful, is there's always a little bit of truth to it. And when you
Mhm.
just shared what this person heard, immediately I started thinking, this is something coming from Russian propaganda and it's reaching parts of the West. But
Yeah.
it's, you begin to kind of recognize, if you know what you're looking for, what propaganda is. So, one last question for you. If Western leaders spent 1 week living with ordinary Ukrainian families, what decisions do you think would change as a result of that?
I always said that this phrase that I like, and when you think about war, don't think about politicians, don't think about rumors, think about ordinary people who is facing this. And so I think if they would leave 1 week with some of our people, they see that the just ordinary people is suffering. They are the ones who are going through this. They are the ones who is facing with economic collapse.
Mm,
They are the ones who is facing the fear of the death. They are the ones who is have more stress, not the politics, not those who are making decisions, but it's just this war so injustice. There are zero reasons for Russia to attack us. Zero reason.
mm,
Someone decide that we need to be part of their country,
mm,
and they justified this war. They said there are a lot of nationalism. They are can you imagine one of the fact that is going in the not the fact story that going in the was going in media in Russia in the beginning of the war, that we crucified the kid and eat him, and we're like,
wow,
what the nonsense you're believing. It's such, you need to be such a stupid person to believe on this
mm,
and have this as an excuse to attack your neighbors. So I
mm,
would say that they would maybe their eyes would be open. I hope more
yeah,
that they are not just ordinary people is dying. One
yeah,
fact,
yeah.
and I will finish.
Yes, please, I
This
wanna hear.
this is not the this is not the how to say this. It's not realistic to count, but when Russia capture Mariupol, um, when we have this factor Azovstal, it was known everywhere. because Russia surrounded factor. So in that city, only that city, 100,000 civilians died. 100,000. So those who survived, it was so hard for them to breathe because
Mm,
the dead bodies everywhere on the streets, and the whole city was smelled of dead bodies. It was so
yeah.
hard to breathe. If there was like natural exchange between people, I give you
Mm,
water, you give me potatoes, they're zero value in the money. People want just to survive. It is hard to count this, but I recommend you to watch the movie on the Netflix, 10 days in Mariupol, I think, the name something like this, and you will see reality.
we will
This
include
is
that in the description,
Mhm.
of the video. Wow,
Yeah.
I think there's so much information that the general population globally just does not have access to. And it's not just with the Ukraine war, it's with any conflict in the world. There's always limited and twisted information that is being sent out, that is reaching all the way across the globe, that is absolutely influencing how people perceive and understand the conflict. And also like how you're speaking with the Russia state media and the things, they're winning the support of their people through the propaganda that is being pushed out, just like many other states do. I think every government participates in propaganda, not excluding our own. And so, again, it's so important, I think, to interact with real live human beings who are living it, and I think you're a prime example of that. Do you have any last thoughts that you want to share? Anything that you want people, especially in the West, to know about the Ukrainian people?
Ah, um, I don't know. I would say that we start to value different things. We start to value our lives. Is We have different priorities. We I would dream to have in cup of the coffee in the morning without fear of being drafted, or
Mm,
without fear of shelling, or just without feeling that there there is nothing tomorrow. I would dream to have couple of coffee like this. So we start to value just normal ordinary things, time with family, or just smile of your kid. Then we sometimes we can forget about this because we're running, and we're always in rush, but we value simple things. We are happy that we are still, and I am personally that I am still alive. And majority of people would say the same. I would say, because we woke up every morning and someone in Ukraine not wake up,
mm.
and this is a gift every day. This is a gift, and we need to treat this life this way, in this way.
That's beautiful. You, pardon the emotions, but you have changed how I will sit and drink my cappuccino every morning.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, your words are deeply profound. You speak from the heart, you speak from lived experience, and I know that it's not easy to take time out of your day to come on a show like this and bring a report from the ground. And so, Valerie, we really appreciate you. We appreciate what you're doing. We appreciate your truth and your honesty and your perspective. Our prayers and thoughts are for you and all the people who are suffering through this. And we will also include in the description, because you do run a nonprofit organization to support and help in this war, and we will include that in the description. And without that, I can't think of a better way to close. So uh, hopefully you'll join me when you have your morning coffee. We will
mhm.
think about all the people all around the world who maybe can't enjoy a simple cup of coffee as easily as we can, and this will be a beautiful time to reflect on what people are experiencing around the world. So, Valerie, thank you so much. This has been your ground report with Sacred Earth Journey with Valerie from Ukraine. Thank you so much.
Your ground report from the ground as it is.